Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to another match of StarCraft Evolution. It's time for 2024 to take on 1998 on good old Daybreak LE. This map alone already makes me very nostalgic. We're spawning right here in the bottom left hand corner, playing with the Brood War Protoss pieces. We have none other than Mini, one of the very best StarCraft 1 professionals, consistently in top 8s of basically every premier event that StarCraft 1 has. So very exciting to see what he is going to be able to do. Sadly, I don't know who his opponent is, but I'm assuming that Mini is not going to waste his time going up against a bunch of noobs. But playing right here with the StarCraft 2 Terran, we have a barcode. Yeah, as far as the barcode players go, I've noticed that in general, it seems like, for example, Gumiho is playing this mod quite a bit. We have players like 4GG that have been picking up this mod quite a bit as well. So I don't really know who this is, but I think it's safe to assume it's going to be one of those top tier Terrans from StarCraft 2. Or maybe some of the old school names, right? I mean, 4GG is a name that I haven't really seen pop up much over the last couple years in SC2, but I know a lot of Korean pros for StarCraft 2, they came from Brood War. A lot of the Korean pros actually, when they finished their military service, they went back to Brood War because it is a very popular game in Korea. And I think that's also the reason why this mod has been so popular, because the Koreans absolutely adore StarCraft Brood War. You know what? I don't disagree. It really is a fantastic game. Alrighty, so let's see. Let us see exactly what Brood War Protoss is capable of when it comes to facing off against StarCraft 2 Terrans. Obviously, there have been a couple of balance adjustments here and there to try and make this as fair as possible. If I'm not mistaken, the mod is actually still considered to be in the beta edition of it right now, so they're still actively working on it to try and make it as balanced as possible. I mean, for example, if you would start with the Brood War worker count, you would be in a lot of trouble, because you would just get overwhelmed really quickly. Obviously, the strategies are all over the place. Scouting worker ends up going down, by the way, but yeah, just the pathing alone, and for example, Dragoons, should make them quite a bit better than they ever would have been in StarCraft 1, right? In StarCraft Brood War, your Dragoons generally don't really listen to you. Now, this is a quick robo facility. Not really something we usually see against Terrans in StarCraft 2, but one of the most popular builds in StarCraft 1 is, of course, the Reaver drop. We'll have to see if that is something that Mini wants to go for here. Very cursed, by the way, to see a Reaper going up against a Dragoon. Dragoons, in case you're unfamiliar, they're kind of like a mix between like a Stalker and an Immortal, right? So in StarCraft 1, I guess they sort of like split them off into 2 units in StarCraft 2, but in StarCraft 1 you had 1 unit called the Dragoon. It doesn't have Blink. It's in general kind of derpy, although obviously with the StarCraft 2 pathing, it does work out a little bit better. Alright, let's see. I would imagine this is going to be a shuttle into a robo support bay. There's the shuttle. Yeah. Are we going to go for a robo support bay as well? I think we are. Yep, there it is. Alrighty, so the good old Reaver drop should be the opener that we've got right here from Mini. You'll love to see it. This is something that deals a tremendous amount of damage. Think of it as like, for example, a Disruptor drop, but usually it's much more clumsy for the opponent to play against. But then again, this is StarCraft 2 pathing, so maybe it's not that bad. I don't know, I guess we'll find out. What exactly are we going for right here on the Terran side of things? Well, for now, it's just going to be a bunch of Marines in bunkers. Cyclone coming up together with a Medevac 2, though, so that is something to keep in mind. Obviously, you can send those units across the map and deal quite a bit of damage. Not, well, normally something you have to really contest with, right, in StarCraft 1. There's indeed the good old snail or slug or whatever you wanna call it coming up right here. This unit is incredibly slow, but it is also extremely iconic. Good scout right here. Yep, great scout right here by the Terran. He's going to be able to figure out exactly what he's playing against. Gravitic Drive is also researching, and this will be something that gets spotted. That is the shuttle speed increase. So the shuttle, I mean, StarCraft 2, you can warp in units with the Warp Prism. The shuttle does not have that luxury because there is no warp gate in StarCraft Brood War. So this is, yeah, just a dropship. Just something you use to ferry units around. Medevac drop though, boosted across Daybreak. Observatory coming up as well. Gravitic Drive is going to finish. We were just about to leave for the other side of the map, but yeah. Okay, there we go. I don't think that really is going to be an option. You're gonna need to use these units defensively for now. Oh my god, they're so slow. Oh, all of this is so slow. In the meantime, Cyclones, ooh, over in the natural expansion too, being an absolute disaster. Looks like eventually the medevac is going to be pushed away, but this is a lot of damage dealt right here by the Terran player. Not quite enough single shot damage right there to shut down one of those Cyclones. They're trying to go after the shuttle itself, but it won't happen as he just barely gets out of range. This shuttle, though, is so low in hit points already. Yeah, our barcode Terran is writing something. My Korean is still non-existent, but maybe somebody in the comment section of the video can let us know what's going on. Here's the singularity charge. That is some additional range for the Dragoon. Yeah. So you can see as soon as it completes, suddenly the medevac is going to have to hide a little bit further in the corner of the map. Gravitic Drive, though, really does make this a lot better. Dangerous play here from Mini. Apparently he's not afraid of flying around with 11 HP. Obviously the shields will regenerate. But, I mean, a Widowmine, for example, could be an absolute disaster. Again, not something you really have to worry about. Ooh, in StarCraft 1. Alright, 8 SCVs just like that. We're gonna go straight into the main base as well. Terran, in the meantime, is mostly boosting across the map, it seems. Can we target that? Oh, that clump would have been an amazing target. Okay, all of this is gonna get shut down. Will we see one more? Yep, not bad. Good bit of damage done. Cyclones, though, on the other side, gonna be absolutely pivotal. Don't attack that supply depot. That's just there to prevent cannon rushes, I guess. You can even apparently walk through it. It's very strange to see Cyclones fighting Dragoons. I really don't know how those engagements are supposed to go. Raven in the back, by the way, also, I think, getting a bit of damage done using what I would imagine is the auto turret. Yeah. Again, not something you usually play against. Very fun. I've been loving this mod. Yeah, I hope you guys do as well. If you like these videos and you would like me to cast more, make sure you hit the like button. It's always difficult for me to gauge how much interest there is in a strange mod, like, for example, this, but I personally have been really liking it. I think this is really fun to see the different communities come together, you know? We're all in this together in the end. We're all playing a relatively unpopular genre of video game. One Corsair has been made here. This is essentially, I guess, the StarCraft Brood War equivalent of, like, for example, a Phoenix. They work out a little bit differently, but I think it's really just here to get rid of that Raven, because he's not making any more. My god, takes forever, eh? It takes so long. Jeez. Alright, he got it done eventually, but I've got a feeling that that Raven could have gone home. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Some units feel very powerful, and then other units just feel kind of eh. In general, every Brood War unit is very powerful. Well, maybe not all of them. Maybe Scouts are considered to be kind of weak, but it's the same for StarCraft 2, right? It's very hard to really call one unit quote-unquote weak. There's not really a weak StarCraft 2 unit. Like, even the weakest StarCraft 2 units are really good. Oh, it looks like they actually have like a second where they can't fire. They have like a little bit of confusion there above their heads, where they won't be able to fire, I guess. Okay, we're gonna be parking them at the Watchtower, another thing that you don't have in Brood War. At least as far as I'm aware, unless modern maps are a little different. Another Raven, though, going around. Yeah, and you know what? This is still dealing a lot of damage. That Corsair is gonna be sent on over to try and deal with that, but eventually it will arrive, and I think the Raven can literally just fly home. Yeah, these bad boys, quite a bit of sustain, apparently. Now, we're going a lot of shuttles here. This is going to be mass shuttle, mass dropped Reaver, I guess. We're gonna need one over here at the front immediately. Nice target firing right there by Mini. In the meantime, Terran, by the way, playing Terran mech. Cyclones are turning out to be really good choices here. Yeah, this is not really going all too hot right here for our Protoss. I don't love this. So, usually, you don't really play Terran mech against Protoss. It's just not really a strategy that you usually go for in StarCraft 2. I guess in this game, for Protoss at least, there is no Void Ray, there is no Immortal. It's really hard to say exactly how Terran mech is going to play out against... I mean, I guess in Brood War, Terran mech is pretty popular, right? So it's not something that's particularly uncommon. But it's really hard for me to really tell how this is going to work out. And I guess we're just gonna have to watch the game and see how it will proceed. But all of these unit interactions are very interesting to me. We have a ring of missile turrets, by the way, here from our StarCraft 2 Terran, which is funny to me, because rings of missile turrets around your main are very common in StarCraft 1. But we're playing, we're playing against, well, with StarCraft 2 units against Brood War units. The whole premise here is, everything is merging together, man. Everything's becoming one. Well, there was a Raven, of course, and that is still a detector, so that observer is gonna get shut down. Easy peasy. Top left-hand corner now acquired here as well by Mini. Who is... yeah, he's got a good unit composition overall, but I'm a little afraid for how these fights would go in a straight-up engagement. Then again, usually Terran mech, it doesn't really move very aggressively. Nah, this is that classical style of Terran mech where you just kind of hang out and you just sort of, yeah, macro up. So... we do have the speed upgrade right now for the Cyclones, and we have the same thing here as well for, well, not the speed upgrade, but we have an improvement here for the Hellions. Here's the drop, though. Oh, we have that one Corsair ready to soak up a bit of damage, too, and I love this! Oh, big damage potential! Woo, that range so far, man. Ay-yi-yi. A couple interference matrices now going down on the Reaver, so at the very least, that's still helpful, but you can pick it up and get on out of there if you need to. Not bad. Okay, here we go. They have more Scarabs available. I'm assuming, by the way, yeah, that should be the Scarab damage improvement. He has, by the way, created a way for himself to get out, and that is a lot of damage done. In the meantime, there's a group of Dragoons going around the map too, so Mini, recognizing this slow-moving StarCraft 2 Terran army, has decided, you know what, I'm gonna try and see if I can, yeah, force you to unsiege all the way from the front, and we'll see how you handle all of this. Great stuff. Eventually this will be deflected, but there was a lot of kills on the side of the Protoss, and even though he did take some losses, I think that's okay. 40 SCVs going down, a bunch of siege tanks. Not bad whatsoever. At this point, Terran is just stuck on 3 base, whereas Protoss has just secured the expansion all the way in the top left-hand corner too, so... yeah, 4 base Protoss, 79 workers versus 57. Supply-wise, this game is looking phenomenal right now here for Mini. But then again, how in the world do you push into a bunch of siege tanks like this? Not easily done. There's no Tempest. You can't pick away at those Terran units from a long distance. I guess you have Disruption Web. That would be an option. Instead, we're going to be going into the Kijkwijzer Amulet. Not something you would ever see in StarCraft 2, because that upgrade got removed in like 2011. But in general, High Templar against Terran mech, very uncommon. I love the Storm animation, by the way, from what I've seen so far. It looks so good. I really do like it better than the StarCraft 2 Storm animation. I really do believe so, even though it could just be novelty. Anyways, I think what we have right here is once again a big drop and then probably a push at the front too. So maybe try and create another distraction here. Try to see if you can maybe force all of those siege tanks to unsiege once more and then push in with the rest of these units. Many apparently thinking about stealing one of the bases from the opponent too. Hellion drive-by attempted over in the direction of the 3rd base of Protoss, and these are blue flame Hellions, so they should be able to pack a punch. In the meantime though, the drop does indeed go down on the right side of the map. Speedy prisms, or I guess shuttles is what we should call them, unloading everywhere. My god, it is costly. Storm, can we get some storms? Oh, a little late on that storm. I think it could have done a lot more damage with it. Right now it's a little awkward. Yeah, we're gonna try and pick up, but these units have nowhere to run. A lot of chaos all over the map, so I think he just barely missed the perfect storm opportunity. Okay, we're gonna storm ourselves. Fair enough. That Archon actually putting in quite a bit of work. No recall available, at least not yet. Works a little bit differently. We're gonna need Arbiters for that, I guess. No cancel on that command center, though, so those Zealots actually also put in quite a bit of work. And now the Dragoon army is moving at the bottom of the map. Fleet Beacon here, coming, okay. We have a load of Stargates, so we can, of course, go into the good old carriers. I don't think it would be a bad choice. Okay, he's trying to see if he can potentially find a bit of an angle right here. From the right side, those siege tanks having a grand old time. Can we see a storm? Oh, we see a storm on the mineral line instead. I thought we were gonna go after the units. Kind of feels to me like Mini could try and push for the win. But apparently he wanted to go for the workers and the guaranteed damage instead. And, well, it's not something to underestimate, right? Something you have to make the call. It's difficult to make the decision. Going for the guaranteed damage usually is indeed the right choice. Okay, so here's the carriers coming up. Great scan here as well by the Terran, who will now see exactly what they're playing against. And apparently the counter will be the Thor. Big Daddy Thor is going to be hitting the battlefield here momentarily. How does that play out against these units? I don't know. I would imagine the high impact mode is going to be great against the carrier. +1 air weapons. We do have a second cyber core here, so double upgrades for flying units would not be a bad choice whatsoever. Seems like most of the Terrans that I've seen play this mod so far, they play quite turtly. Maybe that is what the current meta of StarCraft Brood War is like too, but the Terrans really aren't doing a whole lot. No real timing attacks, mostly just trying to sit back and max out, and that seems to be the strategy that our Terran here is employing as well. Nexus here did get cancelled. I think trying to steal their base and trying to bait them away from those siege tank lines is not a bad idea. Yeah, but making a ton of static defense and just making sure that he can't really get overwhelmed is apparently the strategy here from the Terran player. Going into the +3 research, we'll probably see the second upgrade in the armory here in just a moment. Now the carriers, though, are revealed. Carriers with only 4 interceptors. A little funky. We did see a quick little upgrade right there for just a moment, but... Okay, I'm assuming that's going to be for the carriers. Okay. I don't really know exactly how many minerals, by the way, you have per mineral field. 1,800? It's 1,800 on every single one of them here. Interesting. That's not how we do it anymore in StarCraft 2. So, some of those core mechanics, right? Like, for example, starter workers. Like, for example, pathing. Like, for example, the amount of resources in a mineral line. All of those are very different in StarCraft 2 compared to StarCraft 1. StarCraft 1 bases seem to always last forever, and really the same can be said right here on Daybreak. I don't know if that's a feature for the mod specifically, or if this is something just specifically done for this map. We'll have to keep an eye out on it, but at least on this map it seems like most of the mineral fields have 1,800 resources in them. Yeah, that's a lot more than in StarCraft 2. In StarCraft 2, half the resource fields have 900. So the bases mine out much quicker. And that's one of the reasons why usually in StarCraft 2, in the early days, you would see a lot more turtle styles as well, or at the very least a lot more turtling on like 2, 3, sometimes 4 bases. The minerals just never ran out. Okay, here we go. Do we have enough to push in here? Interference matrix is used, some big storms going down as well on all of those tanks. Thors are forced to back off, but there's still a lot of tanks dealing damage though. And those carriers, yeah, taken out of the equation there for a while. The start of that fight, I also don't think they had their 8 interceptors yet. They took quite a bit of work. Yeah, I don't love that fight right there, and suddenly Terran is ahead in the supply count. We have a Hellbat push in the top left-hand corner of the map too. Blue Flame Hellbats making quick work of all of those probes. Obviously, that's a properly upgraded mech army too, right? Against a mostly flying army there for Protoss, because those Templar don't really benefit from any upgrades as far as their attacking goes. I guess there were a bunch of Dragoons and whatnot in the mix too, but that was a really well upgraded Terran mech army going up against a decently powerful Protoss army, but I think those interference matrices are something that need to be respected a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, I wonder what unit would be most broken with proper pathing. I would imagine the Dragoon. But something like the Goliath as well is not to be underestimated. Like in StarCraft Brood War, you can only select a limited amount of units. I think it's like 12, so you can select 12 units at a time. I always get it mixed up with StarCraft like 1 and StarCraft, or StarCraft 1 and Warcraft 3. I think it's like 12 in the one and then 14 in the other, something like that. Anyways, you can only select a limited amount of units. So just like maneuvering around a large army, because of the pathing and because of the limited unit selection, is super hard in StarCraft Brood War. But obviously you don't have any of those issues when you're playing the game in the StarCraft 2 engine. So I'm not sure exactly if Terran, Protoss, or Zerg would benefit from that the most. You'd imagine Zerg would benefit from that the most, because moving around a lot of Zerglings is really tough. Anyways, Fusion core coming up right now as well for the Terran. Liberators could, I guess, be a good choice, but I wonder if this is going to be for a battlecruiser transition instead. Would be kind of sick. Protoss just now finished 2-2 for the air upgrades and the air armor. The air attacks and the air armor, so those missile turrets are gonna be able to get shut down pretty easily. We have an armor shredding missile though going down. And that is gonna force this Protoss army to back off for the time being. In the meantime, the Arbiter Tribunal has also been made, so Arbiters are coming up. Very powerful unit, the recall ability, incredibly handy. Getting all of those Dragoons inside of your opponent's base, not a bad choice. More Templar, by the way, inside of this shuttle. Yep, it is indeed going to be for the Fusion Core. Look at that, 4 additional starports are building. We have Mass Command Center coming up here as well for the StarCraft 2 Terran. So, after turtling with Terran Mech, I guess we're going to be turtling into Sky Terran eventually? Building armor researching. I think we're going to go, after this army falls, I think he's going to do a mass battlecruiser transition. Yep. There's a lot of supply currently caught up in Thors and siege tanks, but I think we're going to be trading those out as soon as is reasonable. Okay, let us see. That carrier is so funny looking to me, man. Honestly, StarCraft 1 units in general look really funny. Anyways, we've got ourselves a big fight over here. Good storm lands on a lot of the Thors. Man, those storms are so cool. I love the way that storm looks. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up about it. But as soon as indeed Terran did lose a little bit of supply, a battlecruiser gets queued up. Fighting into this choke point on Daybreak is not really something that Protoss is gonna want to do. I think stealing one of these bases is something that Protoss would want to do, but Missile Turret Ring has been reconstructed in the main base. So even though we do have a couple of shuttles here waiting to try and see if they can potentially boost in, I don't think it's gonna happen. Recall research, by the way. Kinda neat. Yeah, this Terran army looks really difficult to stop. It took a while for our Terran here to max out, but he managed to get there eventually. And that's, I guess, all he's really hoping for. Okay. Here we go. Apparently we're still gonna try and just YOLO drop in there. It's a very dangerous decision, but of course those prisms, they're quite tanky. At least comparatively to I guess, the StarCraft 2 edition? I don't know, it's kind of hard to say, but they do seem like they stay alive for a little bit longer. Now we do have a drop in the main base. Zealots are tearing apart a lot of structures, but I don't know if this is really something that Terran is going to be too bothered by. Slowly but surely, the Thors are clumsily making their way to the main base. Yeah, those Vikings picking off those carriers, though, one at a time. Not something that really can be underestimated. Now the battle cruisers are here. Oh, we have ourselves an Arbiter. Recalling all of the stuff towards the main base. A dangerous play, though. I think it's cool. It looks amazing. But I don't think it was actually that strong of a move, all things considered. It was just not enough Protoss to take on this massive Terran mech army. And just like that, Mini's forces get wiped off the map. And I think the Terran's actually pretty happy losing a bunch of supply like that, because that now means we can go into the mass battlecruiser production. Bunch of units here misrallied as well. Maybe the all-army hotkey. Maybe that's the first time that Mini falls for the trap that the all-army hotkey can be. But yeah, he's finding himself in a much more difficult position right now. +3/+3 though does finish up for those air upgrades. An ambitious Nexus being built underneath, yeah, a bunch of siege tanks. Luckily right there for our Protoss, I guess. The probe died before it could make the structures. Would have been more costly otherwise. We should see some Yamato cannons as well. He wanted to, but he didn't get it. Drop on over towards the bottom section of the map, another big storm. Yeah, Terran's lost a lot of SCVs, but now we're at that point too. 74 SCVs have gone down, where I think Terran doesn't care. So obviously in StarCraft 2 you have mules, right? And mules are pretty darn good. This is actually the moment in the game where Terrans want to sort of get rid of some of their units. some of those mining units anyways, to open up supply for more army. Stasis being used right here by the Arbiters. You love to see it. Stasis being used here, cloaking being used as well to try and get rid of the battlecruiser raid. In the meantime, we do have a push as well up north. Thor's trying to clear out together with some siege tanks and Vikings, whatever they can. Battlecruisers currently in stasis that lasts about 7.5 years, give or take. But I think as soon as they pop out of the stasis, they will just teleport home, assuming the Protoss army is still nearby. So I don't think this is really... It looks cool, again, but I don't think it's that strong of a play across the board. Because these units should just immediately go. They should just immediately fly away. Just instant teleport. Bloop. Go. Yeah. He did a recall, by the way. Yeah, he recalled a lot of the units in the direction of that Arbiter towards the bottom of the map. So that, I think, is a really cool play. I think just in general, this map is so tough. Nice micro right there, by the way, by the Terran. Oh, do you see that? Popping the units into the planetary fortress and popping them out on the site that the storm is not on. Speaking of storm, though, a load of damage being done there. Arbiters putting a lot of these units in stasis is sweet. But I think the strategy here that Mini is going for is a little suboptimal. I think worker harassment in the late game against Taran is exactly something that Taran wants, especially when it comes at such a significant cost. Yeah, Taran will be more than happy to replace SCVs with mules at this point, so more army supply can be used instead. And those High Templar, they are anything but cheap. Okay, well, here we go. Apparently, we're going to try once more. I mean, Stasis here is a really nice ability. I think Stasis is actually what we should be seeing, and it looks like with that Stasis, life is a little bit better. Now, Tactical Jump has been used as well with reinforcing battlecruisers showing up. The entire ground army, though, for the Protoss gets massacred. And in just a moment time, we will see +3 finishing up for all of those flying Terran units too. We have some Yamato guns going down to try and finish off the Nexus. They indeed achieve that pretty easily. Man, I'm really liking this game. It's so fun. I think this map is kind of bad. Yeah, I don't think this map really works out very well because it just emphasizes turtle play. But just the potential of the entire game mode is so fun. Yeah, in a way, it's kind of like making 3 additional races available for... Well, I want to say StarCraft 2 because we're playing the StarCraft 2 engine, but you could definitely also see this as 3 additional races to StarCraft Brood War. And it's very nostalgic in many ways. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is starting to be tough. This is starting to be very tough here for Mini. Our StarCraft 2 Terran has done an excellent job turtling up, but he also has gotten a bit of help, though. Yeah, look at the amount of resources lost right here on the side of the Protoss compared to the Terran. It is not even remotely similar. And right now we're also getting to a point where Terran is mining more. Yeah, they have been mining more, so like that cost inefficiency of the Protoss army, it was okay earlier on because they were mining significantly more, but now that Terran has got that late game orbital command fleet, it is very difficult to match their eco. And honestly, Terran's still fine as far as the worker count goes. I'm a little surprised he even remade SCVs, if I'm being honest with you. Nice strategic game right here by the Terran. Even though I personally don't love the passivity, right? I complain about that regularly in my casts. Another big recall being used. I don't love the passivity, but I think strategically it is played expertly. Okay, let's see. Can we see some stasis? I think we're gonna need to see some stasis. There we go. Big stasis does land. In the meantime, though, the Terran mech ground army is moving on over, and a bunch of Vikings, towards whatever they can hit. Now this is a banger of a player right here. I would have loved to see something like this just a few minutes earlier, because I think this is a sinking ship right now for Protoss, but this is a really cool play here by Mini. It's just such a scary Terran army to hold. That stasis is insane, by the way. Stasis seems to last such a long time. There's also no solution here for the StarCraft 2 Terran to try and deal with it? Okay. 2 expansions have been killed. This base over at the bottom, what was previously supposed to be one of the Protoss expansions, has now become a Terran planetary. Carrier's still going to town, though. I mean, these units are getting a ton of value in. There's another Nexus here that just finished up on the other side of the map. Siege tanks and Thors have been looping around the map only to go on their way back home to find another Nexus. Battlecruisers, though, once more showing up. And these carriers are caught between, well, I was going to say a rock and a hard place, but they're caught between a planetary and a missile turret. It's not really the place where they are supposed to be. And ultimately, it is indeed our Terran player who obtains the victory. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you really liked it, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you get notified as soon as new videos go live. I try to upload new content pretty much every single day. Today, I also want to give a special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for directly supporting this channel. Look at these absolute legends that are scrolling across your screen right now. Anyways, for now though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I hope to see you once again very soon for another video.